Hello everyone. I'm Alessio from Armenise Translation, and thank you for having me today. I'd like to talk about starting out as a translator in the age of uncertainty. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Alessio Armenise. I'm an Italian translator, and I translate from English, French, and Spanish into Italian. I graduated in intercultural and linguistic mediation at the University of Bologna, and I specialized in specialized translation and conference interpreting at the University of Trieste, where I graduated in July 2020. Soon after my graduation, I started my own business in October 2020. You can see my logo on the left. I started during the second wave of the pandemic in Italy, and before that, I had been finding it a bit difficult to look for an in-house job as a translator, so I started right away as a freelance translator. I had a bit low expectations at first, being honest, due to the worldwide economic crisis and to the fact that translation is a highly competitive market. So I'd like to answer two questions today. How to enter such a competitive market in the COVID era when everything revolves around the internet more than ever. And I'd like to focus on three main points: learning, marketing, and networking. I began by watching videos, by listening to podcasts, reading blogs and newsletters about the profession of a translator and on freelancing. I'd like to thank Adrian Probst, because I've been watching his videos on YouTube on his channel Freelance First, and I found them very, very useful to start out, because I was a bit confused at first and I didn't know where to start. The second point is marketing. I started sharing written content, but also graphics, videos, and I even started some campaigns on social media to let other people know me and to start getting noticed in the industry. The third point is networking. I've been building my network on social media such as LinkedIn, and I find it very useful because I could get in touch with more experienced translators from whom I learned a lot. I could exchange ideas with fellow translators. I could meet new colleagues, and I could even find new clients and start collaborations with translation agencies. So everything, as I said before, revolves around the internet right now more than ever. That's why I think that build your identity on social media is extremely important, especially as a newbie. I'd like to give a few tips for newbies, especially, but not only. First of all, you could introduce yourself on social media. So you could tell your story and what you have to offer to your potential clients. First thing, you need people to know you, but also to trust you. So in order to build this credibility through social media, you can create multi-channel content. So posts, blog posts, also sharing pictures and some videos even. Something very important is to keep up to date with the latest trends. So with the most trending topics in the translation industry, just to catch the reader's attention. But I suggest avoiding being too obvious so as to stand out from the others and get a bit noticed, especially if you're at the beginning. Last but not least, I advise tailoring your profiles. So you could create your profile in multiple languages on LinkedIn, for example, and also you should optimize your content, your profile, by choosing the right keywords that are relevant to you and your career, but also that are the most used ones, so that to get easily found by potential clients on social media. Something essential for me is choosing the right graphics and catchy graphics. I'll show you a few examples. On the right, at the top, you can see a couple of banners I have posted on my profile on LinkedIn. The first one is my personal profile. The second one is my business page on LinkedIn. And I got in touch with a professional graphic designer to have a professional graphic on my profile. On the left, you can see my LinkedIn summary, for example, where I outline in brief my experience, my role as a translator, and my services, but also a bit about my personality in just a few words. At the bottom on the right, you can see a short introduction video I made of myself that I shared on various social media. It's very short, less than 1 minute, and I just introduce myself and what I do, what I offer. In the next slide, you can see, for example, on the left, a post I shared on Instagram and Facebook a couple of months ago. It's a multilingual post in Italian and English. It's about my experience at the European Commission, where I did a translation traineeship. At the center top, you can see one of the most trending posts I've shared on LinkedIn. It's just a couple of suggestions, personal suggestions for freelancers who want to find a bit of a balance between working life and private life. At the right, you can see my blog page. It's on my website that is only in Italian at the moment. That's why my blog posts are all in Italian. But that was my choice to post my blog in Italian because I actually find it more natural to write about my feelings and my more complex thoughts in my native language. Finally, I'll just copy to the conference chats my email if you want to ask me anything, and I also share the links of my LinkedIn profile and business profile if you want to get some kind of inspiration. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Armenise Translation. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Alessio, have you found that it actually generates work?
Yes, I actually found all my clients up to now thanks to social media, because of course, I've been sending presentation emails to agencies and clients, but I found personally that using social media was really impactful for my business. Sometimes I just send presentation messages to my new connections, or I just share an introduction video, for example, or some content about myself, and then people just like to get in touch. It's not always for getting new clients. It's just for meeting new translators and just to build a network. I think it actually helped me to start out.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Can you put the links in the chat?
Of course, I will now.
Thank you, Alessio.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Great job, Alessio. Keep it
Thank
Okay.
you.